to the Cold Life. We are so happy.
So happy.
We're so happy because we were finally able to tell the world that we are pregnant.
Yeah.
It's no longer a secret. It's out there, and we could be free for the first time in like 11 weeks. So we have been overwhelmed with the amount of love that you all have shown.
Oh
It's
my
been
gosh.
incredible. Like the comments, the amount of people that care.
The prayers.
Like we're all here for all the prayers. Pray for us. Thank
That's
you.
amazing. I also want to say
My
there
goodness.
are some people that said they wanted to send us stuff. I will put a P.O. box in our information section.
So we're happy and excited, but make sure that you comment and like and subscribe to all that good stuff, because we have a lot to share in the next couple videos about our journey through trying to have a child. So we wanted to talk about that today. As most of you know, you probably read the thumbnail, you know what this is really about. We were not able to have a natural pregnancy. We have been trying to have kids for over 2 years now, and we finally have it, so we're really excited. But that journey was a very long one for us. It was a very emotional journey, and this is a very intimate experience for us.
Yeah.
It's a very personal experience between Lexi and I, and what we've been through and the struggle we've had with it. So we really debated, do we even want to share this? Not even just to like our YouTube family, but like our close friends and our circles, and like, is this something we just want to keep private
And we spent
between
some
us?
time just like praying about it,
Yeah.
because we're gonna be real.
Yep.
We're gonna be real, and we're gonna share a lot of stuff that is intimate for us. And here's the reason why. It's because there's so many people out there that deal with infertility, or deal with just trying to have kids for a while, because having a child is literally a miracle. It is seriously a miracle.
And the
from
more and
heaven.
more we're involved with that process, the more and more I just don't understand how people can't say there's a God. Like,
Yeah.
how is it possible
Yeah.
that this just happens?
I mean, just even though we went through a scientific way of doing things. I say scientific, but a scientific way of doing things. God has to still be in it.
Every
and
step.
Oh my gosh, every
It's
step
crazy.
of the way. So, that is honestly the main reason I want to share. As I was going through my journey, I learned a lot, and then I learned a lot from a lot of other people around me that are also dealing with either trying to have kids, infertility issues, or just having different ways of struggling. And I really want to reach out and say, I'm sharing this because I want people to know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And I want this to be some sort of a testimonial that we shouldn't be dealing with this alone, especially in my community. I feel like there's so many people in my community and when I mean my community, I mean the Black community, that's just so quiet about trying to have kids, struggling to have kids.
It's a very taboo topic.
It's a very taboo topic, but it's not in other communities. So I just want to be real and open and share my story and things that I wish I would have known. And then also my last thing is that I hope that this will bring us together, those that are dealing with struggling to have kids, infertility, whatever. I hope that this brings us together. Maybe we can have a conversation. If these are my friends, people that know me, people that just somewhat know me, or may just heard about me, whatever, I hope that we can have a conversation and talk and know that I'm praying for you guys. And I appreciate those that were with me praying for me. So.
And I believe that it would almost be doing an injustice to God to allow him to work this miracle in our life and not share it, and not share what he's done for us and how he's done it. And I know it's a very difficult topic for people to talk about, but once we've gotten,
for us.
but once you've gone to the other side, it's like we just want to help someone through it. And if that's you suffering in silence through a process like this, we want to bring comfort and peace to you, knowing that God is very, very much in that process right alongside. So we started trying July of 2017? Yeah, July of 2017.
We were going to Europe. Of course, I had this fantasy of like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to conceive.
We're gonna get pregnant in Paris.
I know, we're going to get, we're going to like try, and it's just going to happen. And
First time.
And that's what you think about.
Yeah.
Like, you don't grow up thinking about you'll have issues having kids. I don't know many people that think about that. So I'm just thinking, oh, we just try, we stop, whatever type of protection that we use, and just, keep it pushing, and we're gonna have a kid. Simple.
And it didn't work that way. We were married for 2 years, and like we told you guys, we wanted the timing to be right. We thought the timing was right. We were financially stable. We were emotionally stable. We were maritally stable. These are all words I'm making up. But like everything was good, and we felt that timing was right for us, and we were ready for that next step. So we started trying, and it didn't happen the first few months when we thought it would.
Yeah.
And so the first few months it was no big deal. We're like, oh, it's gonna happen. It's fine.
Sometimes these things take time.
Yep.
And so
we didn't. It was all good.
Yeah, and I actually, like, before this video, like, I was just looking back at. I remember when I just started to think, like, okay, we're not, like, it's not working.
It was probably like 3 or 4 months in.
I want to say like 6 months in.
6 months.
And I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking this is still early.
Yeah, you're like, well, it's okay. It may just take a little bit more.
It may just take a little bit more. So I started to kind of vlog, and this is before we even started on YouTube. So I did a lot on my camera. I remember having a conversation with myself of like, okay, don't get discouraged.
Yeah.
Like, everything's going to be okay.
Not allowing the devil to talk to you.
Yeah.
And to get in your mind and bring fear and questioning and trying to fight that.
Yeah, it was so intense. And I, started to, we're having faith. We're going to have a kid. Like, I'm not worried about this. God's got this. And so, just trying to encourage myself. And I felt there were... So today is November 12th, 2017. And I just wanted to vlog this journey that I've been secretly doing without anybody really knowing. Is Brian and I have been trying to have kids, and we've been naturally just trying, and then just kind of not really thinking about it, but still kind of thinking about it. And then last month we tried, we really tried and did everything that we were supposed to do, just dotted our I's, crossed our T's, and did everything. And I feel like I'm on my period now, and I felt kind of disheartened, but I've been kind of sitting here, and I just been listening to worship music, and I've been trying to figure out what just what am I trying to get out of it, because I haven't wavered my faith. I haven't wavered my words, and I think the hardest thing for me is not that I haven't been wavering, it's just I haven't really been expecting anything from God, because it's hid under faith, but it's really fear of having an expectation. So I'm going to try to have an expectation, a strong expectation, because I want to have kids, and I want to show God that I'm not afraid, and I can wait as long as He wants, because it's not my timing. And to truly let go of that is hard. But I'm believing in God for that now. So many times where I felt discouraged, because I remember looking at these videos, girl, you got this. I'm sending this to you. You're gonna look at this a year from now, and you're gonna have a child. You're gonna be okay. And I, remember just feeling so discouraged and trying to lift myself up, and it was just so hard. And that was after 6 months.
So I think it was around the 6-month period. I wasn't discouraged yet. I think it started hitting me around probably month 8 or month 9, to the point where every single month we would be expecting like this is going to be the month. This is going to be when it's happening. We're praying. We're putting faith behind it. We're like giving all we got. And then when she got her period, it was like every month I would watch Lexi do these highs and lows, and like this roller coaster ride and this crash when she found out she had her period. She would be distraught. She would be crying. She would just be in a very emotionally rough place for probably 2 to 3 days each month after you found out we weren't pregnant that month. And so for me, I was still pushing. I was like, it's all good. Like I wasn't even thinking of negatives. I was just like, keep pushing. It's all good. It's gonna happen. So for me, it was like, how do I encourage her and tell her not to go through the highs and lows and like try to keep her stable? And it was a little bit rough for me because I wasn't there emotionally connecting with that necessarily. So I was trying to like boost her up, but just talking her through it wasn't really doing anything. So I felt like I was ineffective and I wasn't able to help or like truly be there for her. So that was kind of a struggle. It was around like month 8 or 9 when it started to actually hit me. And I remember the first time that I broke. And it was probably, I remember we actually took a clip of, we put literally all of our faith, like every ounce of faith that we had. I remember this one month, I think it was, month 8 or 9. And we had so much faith, we're like, we're going to record the pregnancy test because it was around the time that she should have had her period. And I was like, babe, I just believe you're pregnant. I just believe it.
And I actually didn't have my period.
You were a couple days late. Mm-hmm. You were a couple days late, so we're like, this is it. So I remember we got the pregnancy test out. She did her thing. And I remember being in the kitchen. And I'm recording it because I'm like, it's going to pop up and it's going to say we're pregnant.
All right.
5 straight seconds.
We are trying to see if we're pregnant. So we're going to keep it live and see how it goes. I'm just going to go in here. I don't know where I'm going to go.
It says not pregnant.
And it said not pregnant. And it literally like crushed me. It was really hard because I never questioned God. I never, questioned if we were gonna have kids at that point. But it was just, it hit me for the first time and I just broke. I don't know what to say about it. It was just really hard. It was really hard, because I've told you guys, how much I wanted kids. I told you how excited I was to be a father. And I think that was the first moment where I realized, like, what if it doesn't happen? What if we don't have our children, And it broke something inside me. So that was rough.
Yeah. So crying.
Yeah.
But
by the way, men, it's okay to cry. Just in case you didn't know.
Right. So yeah, that was, we recorded so much. I remember all of the times we recorded and just having those moments of just sadness and all of that. And I really started to lean on God as far as like, okay, God, what do you want us to do? And so I want to say, what was that, like a year? I think it was a year. We actually went to go see a doctor.
Yeah.
Because
I think it was probably right around after that moment.
Yeah, we actually talked to our bishop about it first.
Yeah.
And asked, like, what do you think, we should do? We want to just get checked out. He was like, yeah, go see a doctor, which I'm so grateful for him.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't one of those things like, okay, just
believe and it'll
just
happen.
believe and it'll happen. He was like, yeah, get checked out. Like,
it's okay to see a doctor.
It's okay to see a doctor.
Work through this medical
and
too.
and I felt like there were so many other Christians, and no, shame to them. It was just like, keep going, keep going, keep going. And I'm like, well, it's been a year, and I just want to know what's up. I just want to know what's going on. We weren't thinking about doing anything. We weren't thinking about anything. I just want to know, maybe there's something I can take. Maybe it's something, if there's something wrong with me, I want to know.
Yeah.
Which is some of the things we've talked about already, of just like seeing a doctor, seeing things for help. So, went to the doctor, and I remember we went to the, RMA of Michigan. That's the place we went to, RMA of Michigan. And we spoke to the doctor, and this is what I liked about him, was that we told him what was going on, and he said, keep trying, give it some time. If it doesn't work out after this, come back. And so
kept plugging along.
Kept trucking along, and I think it was like months after. Maybe
like 3 months.
It was like 3 or 4 months after that, because he said give it like a couple more months, and I almost think it was more than that, because it was more than that. It was like 6 months or something. We gave it some more time. Nothing was happening. And he said, you guys, when we were talking to him the first time, he was like, you guys are over the bell curve because you guys are healthy. Nothing's wrong with you. If something, as far as our, regular stuff, if things don't work out, we'll start doing some testing after, 3 months. We waited 6. And so during that time, we spent a lot of time in prayer, a lot of time just building our faith. I kind of got past the point where I was crying every month. I was just like, God, and my mindset started to shift a lot differently, because I got to this place where I'm like, God, I want to be a servant before I want to be a mother.
Yeah.
I want your timing more than I want my timing, because I want to make sure that I'm in full alignment of what you're doing. So if you don't want me to do any of this, if you don't want me to go see a doctor, and you just want me to keep going, then you let me know, because I'm following you. I surrender all of my stuff to you. I surrender it all. I put it on the table. You can have it. So I just started to get more and more, and I could go through the confirmations of just what happened.
It was beautiful.
But it was some crazy confirmations of just like, God is in this. What's happening? God is in it. So yeah.
And so we ended up going back to the doctor, because 6 months went by, nothing happened. We had been prayerful, so we said, let's get tested, figure out what's going on. Lexi get tested, she's fine, healthy as a horse. I get tested, and again, this is very vulnerable for me, but we want to be honest, be open about it, because there may be people who are going through something similar, and I'll talk about my side of the story. But we found out there was an issue with me. So my count was fine, my motility was fine, but the morphology was low. So morphology is basically the shape of the sperm. And generally, a healthy individual is supposed to have at least 4% of their sperm that are perfectly shaped. Apparently, I only had about 1%, which meant that my sperm was getting to the egg, but because it was misshaped, it wasn't able to penetrate the egg. At least that's the way I interpreted or believe that that's what they're saying. So we learned that, and then I immediately, because I was preparing for something to be wrong with her. Like, I'm just going to be honest.
Because that's what...
I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's
it's not
what
me.
society tells us, is that...
It's the woman.
Women are the main issue, and men aren't, and that's where, because I thought something was wrong with me too,
and I was,
compared to what society has taught me.
I was literally coaching her before the doctor's visit, like, now baby, like, I don't want you to think anything about your identity, anything about you. I don't want you to feel low. Like, if there's anything that we find out, we're gonna get through it. Like, we're like, I'm supporting her and everything. Then we find out it's actually me, and it threw me upside down for a second. And I struggled for a minute with that thing, because I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for me to be the problem. And to find out that there was like a flaw in me started making me think like weird thoughts, right? Weird thoughts that you would tell someone else, oh man, no, bro. But when it's you, it just hits something deep in your core. Like it made me question like myself as a man, my inability. Could I not, if I couldn't do this naturally, what does that mean about me? right? So then I'm looking at my ability to do something and relating that to identity and saying and coupling those two together so that if one doesn't happen, then my identity must mean this. I must not be as much of a man. I must be less of a husband. Or, you know, there was like shame and guilt there because I couldn't give her a child naturally. And I still believe that we can very much have
Absolutely.
number 2 and number 3 naturally. So I'm not even putting anything past God. But it made me go through a season of really looking at who I was and feeling that guilt, feeling that shame, feeling the inability to be there for her the way that I should be as a husband.
Yeah.
And that hurt very, very much. I knew I had to get over it and I had to move past it, but I didn't know how. And I spent a lot of time in prayer. I was upset. Not at God, I was just upset, period. I was just angry, kind of that's not usually me. I'm usually the strong guy. I'm usually the one that's in control of everything. Like you guys know from our previous videos, like I'm in control. I'm the alpha dog. I'm the guy on top. I love to be competitive. I love to, you know, be successful in everything that I do. And like I'm not used to getting hit like that. So, you know, we had to work through that.
Yeah.
And I had to ask God, because then we started looking at options, right? If we can't do this naturally, what are our options? There's IUI, which is essentially putting the sperm naturally just a little bit closer to her egg, just in case that was what the issue was. And there's IVF, which is actually taking the sperm, taking her eggs out of her womb and putting the sperm into her egg and then putting it back. So I had to figure out now, if those are our 2 options, then if we do that, what does that mean?
Right.
That brought a whole new line of questions.
It did. And I think it was hard because in your mind you were like, I mean, still going through all of this, we were like, okay, if we do IUI, like that's definitely gotta work.
Oh yeah, for sure. If we just put those guys a little bit closer,
they just need help getting to the, egg.
Just a boost.
And so I ended up talking to, and it's so crazy how God works, because there was somebody that I pretty much found during the photo shoot. We were supposed to do a photo shoot together, and she found out that she was pregnant. And she said, which is weird because I went through IVF. And this was before I was even thinking about IVF, IUI, or anything. And so we ended up, thank God, long story short, when I actually started going through, I hit her up and we started talking. And she pretty much helped us throughout this whole journey. She don't even know how much she helped you through this whole journey.
I've never even met her.
Never even met her. I've met her a couple of times, but she was just so helpful. But anyway, during the IUI, she was so funny. She was like, those things really don't work. But I was like, well, it's going to work for me.
Just do IVF.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't want to do that. Like our situation is so small. We're going to be able to do it. We're going to be able to, get through IUI. And I'm glad that they suggested it first, because a lot of times you have to be careful of people just trying to take your money, because there are places like IVF is expensive, and we're going to, go into that. But you have to be mindful of doctors just trying to like push you to do IVF when there are other options. IUI has worked for other people. It just didn't work for us because we did
3 rounds.
We did 3 rounds.
So we do IUI, which, again, even emotionally, I could kind of deal with that. I was like, okay, we're just putting the sperm a little bit closer, like, that's cool.
That
like,
should be. And even the doctors, they were positive. They were so positive. They were like, let's believe it's going to happen. Let's believe this. They were just phenomenal. And we were like, yeah, we're going to believe this. So, it may not happen. We would have to do what? How many times do you have to go to the doctor during that time? Maybe 2 or 3 times?
Probably like 3 or 4 per round.
Yeah, per round. 3 or 4 times you have to go to the doctor per round. And so we didn't have to take any medication during that time. It was literally just, Brian's sperm would have to, push closer. So we honestly didn't even vlog that. No. We didn't even record it because we were like, we're going to be pregnant and we're just going to explain what happened and it's going to be over.
So we do round 1. And keep in mind, we ultimately did 3 rounds. We didn't think we were going to get past the first one because we knew we were going to get pregnant. And I just remember throughout that whole process, we just dumped every ounce of faith that was in our physical and spiritual and emotional bodies to give to this thing. And again, not believing in the scientific aspect, but believing that God is going to use this to make it happen for us. There's a difference. Our faith is in Him, not that. Yeah. So, round 1, it's December. We go through round 1, we're waiting for the results. And we were waiting, and we were actually at church. And I remember Lexi tapping me and going, I don't feel good. She's like, I feel like I'm cramping. And this is right around when we were supposed to find out that we were pregnant, like 2 days before.
Yeah.
She goes, I feel like I'm cramping, I need to go to the bathroom. So
no, not only that, this was how bad it was that day, and this was during Christmas time.
It was Christmas Eve.
This was Christmas, this was...
No,
it was it Christmas Eve?
December 23rd.
Yeah.
December 23rd.
And so, I want to also backtrack, which I felt like was my, one of the things that I felt like I failed at was throughout those 2 years, I want to say only one person knew that we were struggling to have kids.
Yeah, we didn't tell a soul.
We didn't really tell anybody that we were struggling. And so, yeah, that was very hard for me. I didn't realize how bad that hurt me. My mom didn't know, my dad's, like, his family didn't know.
Friends didn't know.
Really only one or maybe 2 people knew.
And the crazy thing about it was we did that because we wanted to surprise all those people when we ultimately had it. So we were struggling alone. We were in it, her and I, and that's it.
Yeah.
And we wanted to surprise everyone. We were doing it for their benefit.
Yeah, and also we just didn't want, even when talking to this one person, it felt like I was just being a burden because it was so many times where I was just emotional, and I don't like feeling like I'm a burden or feeling like you have to be there for me a lot. So that was really hard for me. But anyway, fast forward to the IUI, we had our bishop just kind of pray and believe, and during that time, I felt like my period was about to start, and I felt it, and sure enough, right after that,
you go to the bathroom.
Yeah, right after we prayed, outside, trying to have faith, and I was just like,
we literally prayed that earlier that morning, right, wasn't it? And she goes to the bathroom. I'm outside, and she comes out of the bathroom and just looks defeated, and that's when I knew that it didn't work.
You actually believed a little bit. You're like, wait, let's just just see.
Yeah, that's true. All right, yeah, you're right. It took a second.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, let's call. Let's figure out. Maybe it's just spotting. Maybe it's just this. Maybe it's just that. And you were like, no, this is it. So when that finally dawned on me, that was probably the hardest point of this entire process.
It was.
It was more difficult than IVF. It was more difficult than any other point.
I don't know if it was done for you.
Oh, for me. For me, it was more difficult than anything because I think it was at that point that I had released so much faith, and I didn't let a single thought of doubt come in my head for a month during that IUI process, and I was just like, I have no doubt 100% this is happening. I put every ounce of faith on it, and it didn't happen, and it just wrecked me for probably about a week or 2.
Yeah.
Before we were able to finally get back up. I think I was just questioning because you question things like, again, I don't question God. I don't say that He did anything wrong or that He should have done something different, but I just question why. I just want to know what's the plan here, because for so long through this process, my prayers would literally be, God, I want your will to be done regardless of what I want, regardless of what my plans are, regardless of what my timeline is, your will be done, period. But could you give me a hint as to what that is?
Yeah.
Could you give me just a little bit of hint of what the timeline might be?
Right.
Just curious. Because if you tell me it's going to be 2 years, I'll deal with the 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me it's going to be 5 years, I'll deal with the 5 years. But I don't know. And it's in the place of unknowing, in the place of mystery, that you really start to develop a relationship of trust with God.
Yeah.
It's not just faith believing for the thing that you want. It's trusting Him that no matter what happens, He is working it out.
Right.
That He will help us through that process to get to the end goal.
Yeah. When it came to figuring that out, I think that that's probably the closest time that I felt depressed.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the closest time. I was in bed. I literally I lashed out at my mom because she mentioned something to me about like and I know she didn't mean it, but she mentioned something to me like not too long ago where she was like, yeah, you don't ever have to worry about not having kids. You know, we were talking about some celebrity and she was like, yeah, you don't ever have to worry about not having kids. And I came back home after that day and told her what happened, and I was crying. I was like, I just want to let you know this is what's happening with me. And I was in tears and I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I just wanted to let you know because I'm tired. I was tired of holding it in. I was tired of not telling people. I was just exhausted. So we ended up telling my mom. We ended up telling my brothers. We ended up telling we ended up telling his family.
We told my whole family.
We told my whole family. We told his whole family, and honestly, it was just a bad Christmas.
Because I think that was a point of desperation for us. Like at that point, we were like, we can't keep doing this alone. Like this, we are too low.
Yeah.
We're too low, and it hurt too much. We're like, we need someone. And our families were amazing, both of ours.
Yeah.
Were amazing. The way they surrounded us with love, the way they surrounded us with support. My family and her family immediately started praying with us, and that started the process of us coming back up.
Right.
And being willing to try again. So yes, so we ended up going through 3 rounds of IUI, and really we were able to do that again because we felt just so much more rejuvenation from our family, the prayers, our faith was lifted up again, we were above water now, and we did 3 rounds. They were unsuccessful. Yet the second 2 rounds being unsuccessful didn't really faze us as much anymore.
It didn't faze us as much because as much as we weren't believing in the process, I did feel like there was a little bit of hope in the IUI versus just believing God's timing.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
After that first round, I'm like, okay, clearly I can't trust you. I can't trust
yeah,
IUI.
Yeah, you put a little bit of faith in it's like a backup. Like, well, if God's plan of natural didn't work, then maybe we could try this plan and it'll for sure work. So like you slowly kind of even subconsciously put faith in the process, not in Him.
Right.
I think He kind of just
right, and I think that put us at a higher level of faith. And his dad said something that really helped us a lot. And he said there's a point where there's faith and then you push past faith and there's trust. It's like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know everything. I don't need to know, but all I need to know is that you're doing something in this season and I don't want to miss it.
Yep.
I don't want to miss it. And so I'm following you, and we have to go through this, and I'm going to show you that every hit is not going to bother me because I know that you're in it.
Yes.
I know that you're with me.
Yes.
So that's how we handled the rest of it. And then after IUI, we realized that that's not working, and we were just like, I don't know what's going to happen next. There was so many different levels before you hit IVF, so we were like, okay, well, I'm not saying, we were even saying, we're not saying that we're going to do anything next.
Yeah, we didn't decide.
We didn't decide immediately to do anything. We were just like, right
Pause,
now,
pray.
Yeah, and that's what we did. Before we did that, we had a meeting of what would be the next steps. Regardless of whatever those next steps would be, we said that we're just going to take some time. We're going to, be with God, because our minds were just so set on being a servant and doing everything that we could to make sure that God, I want you to know that you're first. So we met with our doctor, and he said, these are the next levels. But based on all the tests that we have ran with you, the next step would be IVF. And it was a specific IVF. It wasn't just regular IVF. It was ICSI, I believe. It's like ICCSI, whatever it is. I'll put the name of it, the real name of it while I'm talking. But that was when you actually have to grab the eggs and penetrate the sperm inside of the eggs to see if they actually fertilize. Once they actually fertilize, you put them back in, and then you put pretty much what is the embryo? No, what is it called?
Yeah, the embryo.
It was the embryo. Yeah, put the embryo in, and so depending on how many eggs you have, you can freeze them. But it really showed like how many. It has to be fertilized eggs.
Yeah.
So that is a process that we had to pray and take some time. So they didn't see us for a while.
And there was a lot of questions that are now popping up that we had to deal with. You know, a lot of Christians debate. I won't say a lot. Christians debate. You know, when you do something like IVF, is that putting it in the doctor's hands and taking it out of God's hands? Is that God's will, or are you fighting against faith? Can you, you know? It's like this whole juxtaposition of those two ideals of faith versus, you know, man's process. And
Yeah.
so we had to really figure out where we settled on that issue, even theologically, and before we did it, because this is not a small decision. This is not like a white lie. Oh, sin, sorry. Like, this is a life-changing decision for the rest of our lives that we want to make sure we get right.
Yeah, and we're going to discuss that in our second part. But it was not only just a big change in decision, it was financially. That was going to be a lot. It was emotionally, physically. I have never had anything wrong with my body before.
You've never had surgery.
Right. I've never had anything. But even just the emotional state of like Brian's, you know, morphology, because of that, I have to go through so much physically and mentally and emotionally, and learning how to be a team in that.
Yeah, it's like if it's my fault, then I should be the one to have to bear the difficulty and the pain of the process, right?
Yeah, in the natural world.
You'd think.
Yeah, but because that's like, no, you have to go through all this, and I'm telling you, like, I felt like it brought so much oneness with us.
Really did.
It brought so much oneness with us because it's like, your body is my body is his body.
Your pain is my pain. The things that's wrong with you affect me directly. Like,
and we had to learn how to feel that. We had to learn how to feel that. So, so that is a whole different video in a sense, because we vlogged our whole process with IVF, and it gets real. We talk about all the injections. We talk about how many pills I had to take, and how many doctor's appointments we had to go through. So we're just going to keep talking, but we're going to put a second video up where you see just the part 2 of that.
Thank you everyone for watching, for allowing us to be vulnerable. There was so much love that we've been given just throughout starting our channel, and we just feel like the same will be true of this. You know, our ability to be intimate and personal with you, we appreciate. We really appreciate that, and we appreciate all the comments and feelings and questions that you all may have. Please feel free to just throw those comments in there. Let us know what you think.
We'll be sure to answer them as
much as we
fast
can.
as we can, as much as we can.
And yeah, stay tuned for part 2.
Love you guys.